Hello my lovelies, how are we all today? I hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome or welcome back to Trapped by Love. My name is Emma Carrington, and if you are interested in true crime and justice, you are in the right place. So I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button because we would love to have you join us. By way of disclaimer, we discuss true crime cases involving domestic abuse and domestic homicide on this channel. I have an extra disclaimer today. This case contains images and names of Indigenous people who have died and details of child abuse, murder, and mentions of suicide. So if any of that is not the kind of content you are looking for, I completely understand. Thanks for stopping by. I am here with, it's a little bit of it's a tough day. The world has gone mad, but I am here. I'm here with some relatively good news, which is different for this channel. A while back, I covered the disturbing case of Tamica and Charlie Mullaley. I said I would let you know as soon as I had word of the outcome of Tamica and Ted's meeting with the Attorney General. And today is the day. If you haven't watched the original episode, I urge you to do so because otherwise this update will make no sense, basically. So I'll link that here. If you want to go and check that out and then come back for the update, that would be great. For everyone else, as we know, on the 19th of March in 2013, Tamica Mullaley was brutally attacked by her partner at the time, Mervyn Bell, on a street in Broome, Western Australia. When the police arrived, they found the 26-year-old mother of two laying naked on the ground, severely wounded and wrapped only in a sheet. However, instead of treating her as the victim, she so clearly was, they treated her as a perpetrator. Then when her father, Ted, arrived, they did the same thing to him. Ted told them who had hurt his daughter and where Mervyn was, but their focus was on Tamica, who was wrapped in a sheet and holding baby Charlie. Even though Ted tried to de-escalate the situation, he was arrested along with his daughter. He begged for them to take Charlie with them, but officers failed to give adequate attention to the 10-month-old baby's welfare. He was left with Mervyn Bell's cousin. Yes, Mervyn Bell, the person who Ted had advised police was the one to have beaten his daughter. Mervyn soon turned up to the house where Charlie was being cared for and kidnapped him, and then proceeded to torture him to death. When I released the original episode, the Mullaley family were finally granted a meeting with the Western Australia Attorney General, John Quigley, along with Police Minister Paul Papalia, Minister for the Prevention of Family and Domestic Violence, Simone McGawk, and incoming Police Commissioner Cole Blanche. The outcome of that meeting was released on Wednesday, the 22nd of June. Western Australia Attorney General John Quigley issued a formal apology after a 9-year fight for justice. This week, the Mullaley family got the acknowledgement they've longed for so many years. Both Tamica Mullaley and her father Ted have been officially pardoned by the governor under the royal prerogative of mercy. In making the apology, John Quigley recounted how in 2013, Tamica endured the unthinkable. Quote, Ted and Tamica deserved compassion. Instead, the system we thought we could rely on to support victims of crime failed Tamica and Ted, and then they were dragged through the courts themselves. He goes on to say, these pardons are a show of mercy for Tamica and Ted. It's been a long time coming. He then says, on behalf of the government of Western Australia, Tamica and Ted, I am sorry for the way you were treated by the government and the Western Australian police, both before and after losing Charlie. Tamica and Ted, for that, I am truly sorry. You deserve much better from the police and from the government. We are sorry." End quote. Outside State Parliament, Tamica said, quote, "Sorry means a lot. You can tell in someone's voice if they mean something. And I think now that they've heard actually the real truth of what happened 9 years ago, it's touched them," she said to the ABC. And a whole press conference, finally listening to what had happened. I will add that into the show notes and the description box below, so you can watch all of it in its entirety if you'd like.
Anyway, I'm quite happy with Mr. Quigley's response and everything. That part, and I'm happy.
And I just want to thank George and his team and my two aunties and my whole family and you, Dad, the whole lot of, for getting justice for Charlie Boy, My son is now being remembered properly how he should have been and respected by the West Australian police.
Can you regain trust in the government police, or is that just something that you take personally?
I'll never have trust in them officers that night, but every police officer is different. And the way they're trying to sound like they're going to police now, a lot of Aboriginal people might be able to trust them some more once they get their shit together. Oh, the apology was really good to hear because from the whole government and all of the police, the way they treated Dad with racism and just the way they treated us generally over that night and that week after, the apology was excellent. It's been much appreciated, a long way to talk, but much appreciated. And I think my aunties and my dad will much agree on that. So, yeah, apologise, that's all. Sorry means a lot. It might not mean a lot to them as ministers, but as a Aboriginal family and just a family and a mother, it does mean heaps. We never thought that this would happen at all, because it's been so long, 9 years.
Yes, but you've never heard an apology, have you, from those who...
No, not one of the police from that night or leading up to today, no apology at all.
And their actions on that day, on that night, were they based in bad police training, or was there something deeper to the way they treated you?
Well, yeah, so racism. Racism.
Like everything that Chris knew would happen to Charlie, they still
carried on.
You and took you to court and convicted you.
So despite them knowing what happened to Charlie, they still came driving past that house all day, 2 days, 1 day, the day after they knew our baby had been hurt. They still came and they were shouting and taunting these people. If I hadn't been standing there watching my brother and watching these police do it, I wouldn't have believed it. I would not have believed it. But I had to run out and I said to him, "Can you please go away? You're hurting our family." And asked them, "Leave us alone."
So
We don't know why, but they just kept coming.
So the apologies for all of that there, what Auntie's saying as well, they've now realised what we went through. Was just besides me losing Charlie Boy and trying to grieve, they were coming there taunting us.
Am I assuming correctly, though, that those officers are still in the force?
They are.
They've never been punished for
No,
this?
they haven't. And George is onto that.
And I was going to say, are unlikely to, or...
Yeah. Well, we don't know. George is onto it. He's been pushing now for 6 years. 6 years to get the 4 police officers to be dealt with.
Ted recounted to reporters that when he approached his daughter on that night, he was told to go home, but he's glad he didn't. After arriving at the hospital, it became clear that the assault was so vicious that Tamica had a lacerated spleen and a ruptured kidney. Ted said, quote, "The policeman had his hand on her back, holding her down, twisting her arm up," end quote. Ted's sister then stepped in, adding that she couldn't believe that in the days following baby Charlie's death, the police repeatedly drove by the family's home, harassing and taunting them. And as unbelievable as that sounds, I don't doubt it, which is absolutely sickening in itself. Western Australia Police is notorious for its mistreatment of First Nations people. This includes numerous instances where law enforcement has been called in to deal with a domestic violence incident, yet the attending officers end up arresting the Aboriginal woman who's actually the victim of the attack. There was an incident in South Headland police lockup where a young lady by the name of Miss Dew died in August of 2014 due to the severe mistreatment officers subjected her to. The 22-year-old woman had called police about a domestic violence incident, but was then taken into custody by officers due to her outstanding fines. Time and again, police responding to domestic violence incidents that involve First Nations women as the victim subsequently end up arresting them as they misidentify the primary aggressor, or they take her into custody over other outstanding matters. This is a nationwide problem. National Justice Project Principal Solicitor George Newhouse outlined that the pardon marked an historic event, as it was the first time in Western Australia history one had been issued. But he underscored that it's not enough, and the family will be seeking further accountability to prevent others being at risk. George Newhouse said, quote, "There's still much more that needs to be done to change police culture and ensure this never happens again." He goes on to say it's not sufficient because the family want to see change in Western Australia, so police don't conduct themselves in this way, and that no other family has to suffer this inhumane treatment again. They want an independent investigation of police complaints, not police investigating police. End quote. Issues that the family want raised are that police failed to adequately consider the baby. Officers were insensitive in telling Tamica her child had died. And while the coroner undertook an inquiry into Bell's alleged suicide in prison after a murder conviction, it refused an inquest into baby Charlie's death. Ted Mullaley has suggested that if the assault had happened at Cable Beach, a white suburb in Broome, baby Charlie would still be alive. It is devastating enough that domestic violence is alive and well in our world, but knowing that it thrives with the help of racism makes you wonder how the devil got such a foothold. So that is the update so far. The family is still fighting, and as soon as I know more, I will let you all know as well. I will double check to see where the petition's at and see if it has been updated or amended. If it is, I will link it in the show notes and description box. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, ladies and gents, so please let me know what you think in the comments box below or over on Twitter or Discord, the links to which are also in the show notes. If the content in this case has raised any concerns for you regarding your own relationship or that of a loved one, please reach out for help. There is a list of resources in the show notes and the description box below. My aim in covering these cases is to honour the victims of these crimes and to get their stories out there in the hopes of warning others who may face similar situations. The hope is the more people who recognise the red flags and warning signs of abusive relationships, the less prevalent these cases will be in the future. I thank you again for joining me this week, and until next time, please take care of yourselves and be kind to one another. Bye.